it's Kim, the homeschooling Granny, and I have another collab that we are going to be participating in again. I'm a little bit late on this collab, but better late than never. Life happens. It's been happening a whole lot for me lately. So anyways, it's 5 ways to overcome homeschool challenges. And this collab is being hosted by Ingrid over at Mommy and Mia Homeschool Chronicles. There will be a playlist in my description box for all the other homeschoolers that have participated in this collab. If it's something that you're interested in, stick around and we will get started. Okay, so tip number 1, for when you just feel like completely exhausted and depleted. I'm living that one right now. Let me tell you what, there are days I don't want to get out of bed. I'm just so tired. Life has been rough. But anyways, so when you're just feeling depleted and exhausted and just, I don't know, having trouble putting one foot in front of the other, I have just found that if I really try to stick in God's word, that really helps me immensely. And the other thing is to really try to get extra sleep for me. But I have trouble sleeping. So, you know, you get into bed and then you're like, I'm going to go to bed early tonight. And you're standing there, you know, sitting there staring at the ceiling. Or I get to sleep and I don't stay asleep. But yeah, I find that helps. And sometimes just to get out, get some fresh air, get a fresh perspective, maybe change things up, go on field trips, just do something different out of the ordinary helps us feel better, you know, in that respect, and takes away some of the exhaustion. Or maybe it's because you just have too much on your plate. Maybe you need to relook at your schedule. Maybe you need to, you know, change things around a bit. Maybe your homeschool schedule is too full. Or maybe your life around you is too full. Yeah, and that's my life right now. My whole life is just like too full. So, you know, I get on the couch and lay like broccoli some days because I'm just like, yeah, no good. But yeah, just take some time for yourself. Try to anyways, regroup. Talk to somebody about it, or you can be like me and, you know, you can tell the whole YouTube community about it. Yeah, so that would be my tip for exhaustion and feeling depleted. Get into the word, you know, take some time for yourself, maybe scale back on your schedule, whether it's your homeschool schedule or your life schedule, if you can possibly do so. So that's number 1. Okay, so number 2, but an extension to number 1. You know how you can really tell when I'm tired? Because everything is funny. Everything is funny to me. I'll just laugh over the dumbest stuff. Anyways, I guess it's better than crying. Okay, so number 2, when your child is just not in the game. We have those kind of days, don't we? And our kids are like, no, I don't feel like doing this today. And sometimes it really depends on how I react to the I don't feel like doing this today from the child. Because sometimes they're just burnt out as much as you are. And I think that sometimes our attitudes and how we put ourselves out there is a direct reflection of how our child reacts and goes about their day too. They really look to us. So sometimes when they're not having such a good day, we need to look in the mirror, because maybe it's because we're not having such a good day, and maybe it's not necessarily all on them. Of course, there are times that it is on them, and I'm a big stickler. Like, I can kind of feel her out if it's just being obstinate or lazy, or I don't even want to say lazy, or just, you know, not wanting to be in the game, not feeling like doing it. And I just remind her that, you know, there's lots of stuff that we don't like to do, but we kind of have to do it because it's our job. You know, like my job is to take care of our home and to homeschool and her job is to learn. And so learning can be done in different ways, and sometimes mixing it up really helps too. But if I really feel like it's just something that not necessarily has anything to do with anything except for attitude, then I'm like kind of no nonsense. Then I'm like, okay, that's fine. You know, we can take all day, or we can get this done quickly. It's up to you. And I've kind of learned, like, over the years, I can tell, like, if tears are real or tears are staged. So, and if they're staged, I'll just be like, okay, I'm going in the other room, and let me know when you're finished. And then we'll get back to work. But it doesn't happen very often. Overall, I mean, we're really blessed. She's a super awesome kid. So anyways, when your kid just is not in the game, I would just, you know your child best. So take a step back, figure out if it's something that's on you or if it's on them, and then go from there. Okay, so number 3, when you forget what's important. Sometimes we all forget what's important. So, and like why we chose to homeschool to begin with. Like maybe take a look back and say, you know what, these are the reasons, A, B, C, D, whatever. And remind yourself of what is really important in your life. And like for us, or at least for myself, what is most important is my relationship with God first and foremost. So if that's not in line, then homeschool is not necessarily going to be in line either. And so going back to basics, remembering why we started, remembering what's important to us, that like for us, it's God, it's our family, and homeschool, although it makes, it's up there in importance, it definitely doesn't come before God, and it definitely doesn't come before our family. So we want to make sure that we are in line with God, and that what we are doing is in line not only with God, but it lines up with our family, and that it's working well for us, and that we haven't forgotten why we're in this, and that it's so important. Like relationship between you and your child is so important, and so you don't want homeschool to become a division between you and your child either. So and it ties into being able to read your child, being able to read yourself, and knowing when maybe you just need to step back, and maybe you need to go in your room and pray about it, or you need to pray with your child, or pray with your spouse, or maybe take a regroup as a family. But just never forget what's really important to you, what's really important to not only your homeschool, but to your family and your values and the whole scope of your life, because homeschooling really is, at least for us, it's part of our life. It's an extension of who we are. Okay, so number 4, when you feel like you're being pulled in like 10 different directions. I kind of feel like that right now. I feel like I'm being pulled all over the place. So sometimes, like in my case right now, sometimes it's just life, and you're going to continue to be pulled in 10 different directions. So that's when you really need to take time for yourself, whether it be, I don't know, reading a book that you like, doing YouTube videos, which is what I like to do. Something that you like to do, find something that you love, and just, you got to carve that out for yourself. Carve out, for me, and it also means carving out time in Bible study each morning. And I wake up really early, and not because I set an alarm, because my internal clock does that for me, but I try to make sure that time is when I spend in God's Word. But if you can, if there's stuff that you can delete from your life, don't be afraid to say no. It's okay to say no. Like, we don't have to be super grandparents, super parents, whatever. Your child does not need to be, in 15 different activities because you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm going to fall into that. Oh, my child doesn't get socialized nearly enough. Well, no, that is not even the case. They're socialized plenty, so don't even worry about that. If that's the reason why you're being pulled in 10 different directions, is because, they are taking ballet and, karate and swimming and soccer and baseball and basketball and, if it works for you, fine. But if you're finding it's not working for you and you're running every single day, between co-ops and homeschool and all of those other things, it's okay to say no to some stuff. It's okay to say no to your child, for instance. Like, there is nothing wrong with children learning that they can't have and do everything. And that we are one person. And, like right now, we're just raising one grandchild, but I raised 3 daughters. So 1 of me, 3 of them, 3 times the energy. And now that I'm a grandparent, she might be equivalent to 3 compared to, age from where I was when I did this the first time. But seriously, like, it's okay to say no to stuff. It's okay to cut back. And if you really, really can't, if there's stuff that's, absolutely necessary, then by all means, you need to make sure that there's time for yourself. Don't forget to care for yourself, because in the process of caring for yourself, you can better take care of your precious little. Okay, so on to number 5. When your child is stuck. It can be stuck in anything. It can be stuck in math. It could be stuck in reading. It could be stuck, sometimes for whatever reason, a concept just isn't clicking. It could be that your child has a learning disability that you didn't know about prior, or it could be that you did know, but for whatever reason, your child is stuck. And for us, over the last, kindergarten, and now we're in like week 6 of 1st grade already, it's been reading. It's been a real struggle for her. And I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to change up the reading curriculum. Let's try that. So, I went for something new. It lasted about, I don't even know if I got through 3 weeks of it. And I was like, well, no, this isn't working either. So clearly I need to throw this aside. Went back to what we were using and realized that we just had to slow down. So we are only, now you figure we did this curriculum throughout kindergarten, and now we're 6 weeks into 1st grade, and we are just barely halfway through this reading curriculum, and I'm okay with that. We are moving at the pace that is right for her. I'm not going to look at it as being stuck anymore. I'm going to look at it as she's learning at the pace that is right for her. I'm seeing improvement. So as long as I'm continuing to see improvement, then I'm considering it a win. And that's hard because, you get into that whole comparing yourself to other kids, and you would think I would learn by now, right? Not necessarily. I'm telling you, not necessarily. So I just need to remember that, it's okay no matter where she is at. She's only 6. She's going to be just fine. And like I said, she's making progress. So, wherever your child is at, you may think that they're stuck. And sometimes it does mean changing up your curriculum or doing something different. But in this case, I think part of it is just age and, developmentally maybe wasn't quite ready. And now, like I said, we're starting to see some progress. We're about halfway through this curriculum. Are we going to finish this curriculum this year? I hope so. But if we don't, that is fine too. I find us staying stuck in a lesson sometimes for up to a week, however long it takes, because I don't want to hinder in any way her love of reading. I want her to love it. I want her to enjoy reading and for it not to be stressful and for her not to feel discouraged. So, the more you do something, the better you get at it. So us sticking with a lesson for a while builds her confidence, makes it more fluent for her in the process, and it's a win-win. So yeah, so if your child is stuck, it's okay. Put on the brakes, change up, do whatever you need to do. It's okay. It's not a big deal. And quite frankly, it's nobody else's business anyways. Your homeschool is your homeschool. My homeschool is my homeschool. We know what works best for our kids. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. My 5 tips for overcoming homeschool challenges. I want to thank Ingrid over at Mommy and Mia Homeschool Chronicles for hosting this collab. I really enjoyed it. Sorry, I'm a little bit late to the punch, but yeah, okay. Anyways, thank you so much, Ingrid. Don't forget to take a look at the description box below and you will find a link to the playlist, and you will also find a link to Ingrid's channel.